Welcome to West Coast Women Rising, a podcast celebrating women who are making waves on the coast and beyond through purpose-driven entrepreneurship and powerful personal growth. I'm JJ Flizanes, and I'm interviewing today Tawney Noriega, who is the founder of Ventura County Business Women, otherwise known as VCBW, a group that I joined recently and love and wanted to promote and make this podcast. So today you're going to learn all about Tawney. Welcome to the show, Tawney.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so excited. This was such a cool unfolding of how it came to be. And so now we get to record our stories today, how we ended up here. And I'm excited to launch in September.
Definitely. I'm more interested today in your story. I want people to know who you are, how you got here, your entrepreneurial journey, and how you created VCBW.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back to where do we even start? So, 2018, I started officially Ventura County Business Women because I had a marketing company and I was a brand new business owner. Gosh, I was 23 at the time and I had just given birth to my daughter, Miss Hazel. And I really wanted to be, with her. I wanted to be able to make my own money. Kind of was just looking at all the skills that I had. So I had a marketing company, and the marketing company came from, my parents owned Bonnie Lou's in Ojai. My sister at the time, she had a coffee shop in Ojai. And so I was doing, all of the marketing. I was learning how to do like social media. But we kept running into these problems of, for small business owners, you kind of had to spend money to make money, but you need to make money to be able to spend it. And so I kind of was just trying to figure out um, how do I grow a business without having to spend money on ads? I ended up going back to school. I studied marketing, specifically social media marketing. Couldn't really find the answers and strategies that I was looking for. So I created a bunch of loopholes, specifically on Facebook and Instagram on how to grow your business without ads. That was kind of like my claim to fame. So, I was showing up to all of these different networking events, trying to put myself out there. And in all honesty, I wasn't born into the easiest set of circumstances. Well, most people aren't. And so, my young adulthood, really up until I was like 28, was really about like kind of trying to heal from what has happened in my life. And on top of that, I'm trying to be a mother at a young age. I'm also trying to be a businesswoman. So I kind of went the direction of like put a mask on at first. Like I have it all figured out. I'm okay. Um, we'll work it out. I was burnt out, stressed, resentful. I was 220 pounds. I had environments and situations in my life that were still causing a lot of like chaos and survival. So in 2021, I had this marketing company. I had Ventura County Business Women. It was really inconsistent. But in 2021, I had this huge life transition, and I woke up to I'm just a human that's just trying to navigate like what being a human is. So I started telling the truth to Ventura County Business Women. I'm actually not okay. I'm navigating some really heavy stuff from my past. I'm not really sure who I am or what my purpose is. And then all of these women started being like, me too. And this is what I'm dealing with. And, I'm not actually super confident and happy. And so so quickly the conversations weren't like results and analytics. It was like authentic connection and like, what are people really dealing with? So 2021, I put really like everything on the back burner. And I started a blank slate. I went all in Ventura County Business Women. I want a community that I could be a badass in my marketing. I want others to be a badass in their expertise, but we're humans and we factor that into the community. So I'm gonna take a breath there.
Okay, you take a breath, girl. Let's talk about. All right, so 2021 was when you started the Facebook page or Facebook group because you have a membership, and there are two separate. How I see it being involved is there are two separate entities. There's the Facebook page and the social media presence, which invites anybody who is in Ventura County to basically be involved. But then there's the membership where we actually get together and we go to meetings and you host breakthroughs and all kinds of different things. We hosted a visibility webinar, seminar, masterclass for people. You have a vault, you have a website, you have a members area. So they're kind of two separate things. So when you're talking about 2021, was that the Facebook page or was that when you started the membership?
Got it. Yeah, good clarification. So 2018 is when I started Ventura County Business Women. Um, when we started, we would meet in person at my sister. She had another business. We would meet in person, but because I had the marketing company, I launched like the Facebook group. Maybe at the end of 2018. We had like a couple hundred people in there, and then COVID hit in 2020, and we went from like I don't know, a couple hundred people to like 1,200 in a week because everyone was trying to go online, get connected. And so that definitely like started making me pick it up. But in 2021, at the end, when I went full into Ventura County Business Women, we've always had the Facebook group, but now it's just kind of the free resource. So we put everybody in the Facebook group. There's like 6,300 local business women in there. And then we have the ecosystem membership. So yeah, that's the paid monthly membership, $25 a month, first month free. And that gives you access to like all of our events and all the fun things you're talking about that are included inside of that.
What I love about, and I know some of this story because you and I met up, I went to the last meeting in Ventura County last November. So 2024, I've been living in Ojai since 2021. And I'm new here. I don't know a lot of people. And I thought I'm really craving meeting other women who are business owners. I have a certain limited belief that my marketing skills for what I do for people individually, not necessarily for business owners, but sort of the life transformation, business, the confidence building, all the things that I do really are best for people who listen to my podcast because it helps me to build know, like, and trust over the course of a long period of time. And so then when people are ready, they know where to find me and they come to an event or they join a group or they join something that I'm doing. And so I really had no attachment, which was kind of new for me, to go to a business event and not care that I would make any business because I didn't see it as an opportunity for that. I saw it as an opportunity to meet local women. But I couldn't make the November Ojai chapter, so I drove to Ventura. And I had spoken last year at the kind of conference at the end of the year and saw and met a lot of women there. And then when I came to the Ventura County Coffee Connection, there were a whole new group of women. I was like, where were you guys in October? Like the level, it was a very different conversation. It was a very different energy. And neither one was good nor bad. They were just really different. And so then I saw Natalie was hosting that meeting and she talked about you and that you lived in Ojai and she wasn't even done mentioning Ojai and I'm texting you through Instagram and I'm like, okay, let's meet because you're in Ojai, I'm in Ojai. That's the whole point. I'm looking for people in Ojai. Like I wanted to
Yeah.
meet people in Ojai. I want to live in my bubble and not leave Ojai. So you and I then met and we talked about sort of, the hard stuff. So I knew that you had gone through, but I didn't realize that you really led into this group and it speaks volumes to the different energy that is in VCBW because I don't want to network the way most people network. I don't want to go in. I don't want to be sold to. I don't
Yeah.
want to have to sell to people. I want to make connections. I want to help and support. I want to grow. I want to be real. And I've been hearing you lead with that, not realizing that 4 years ago you just sort of broke down, if you will, and that was what attracted people who felt safe and comfortable to address all parts of business and being a woman and being a person and being a mom and being all the things. So I do love that because when I met Natalie for coffee last week, and she said something about your story and I was like, oh, like what about Tawney's story don't I know? Like because she's like, oh, I'd be happy to support whatever you guys are doing. And I said,
Yeah.
well, it's not really about supporting us as it is about showcasing you, but I wanted to
Mm.
see what other parts of your story I didn't know. So is there anything else that I'm missing?
Yeah. Not maybe not missing. It's funny is yeah, I have, I think my younger adulthood, um, is filled with a lot of hardships, a lot of like, my own version of trauma and survival that I was like born into. You know, but it's a lot of that maybe because of the evolution that I'm in where I think what I've been through, I've dealt with, generational trauma and sexual abuse and really hard, toxic environments, and somehow being able to breathe through it and transform it and not let it suppress me and keep me down. I've been able to use it as fire to build what I'm building. And so, I don't really share my that hard story as much anymore. So it's kind of funny. I just uh I wasn't born how I am right now. It's like who I am and how I lead community, how I speak, how I think about life. This is very new for me. It's only been in the last 4 years. I definitely think that this was kind of always how my life was going to go to a certain aspect. But, you know, um, I've been exposed to so much like sexual trauma, emotional trauma, physical trauma, relationship trauma, right? All these different aspects. But then when, I got introduced into personal development at 19 to 28, I was just such a seeker. Like every freaking modality I could possibly get my hands on because I was like, dude, oh my God, I can't believe I just had to live through all that. So then I kind of spent 18 to 19, really 19 to 28 seeking and trying to heal and figure it out. And and now these 4 years, like I'm cool with what's happened. I'm at peace with the pain that I've experienced. I am almost excited and grateful for it because I think that it put me in a position to relate to so many people on, unfortunately, so many different areas of hardship. God, the state of the world, communities, family dynamics, how we think of ourselves. I'm not the only one that's dealing with trauma in some way. And so I think that because of my life experiences, and me witnessing so much stuff, it's kind of helped me open my heart and just kind of be like, dude, I know I know what it is. These women I'm getting connected to because of business, but I could give two shits about business. I want the individual to be well no matter what they're doing.
All right, that's a good tagline. I don't give two shits about business. I want the individual to be well. Well,
Yeah.
and I come at it from that perspective also. I mean, in terms of the work I'm doing in the world, mostly is self and personal development and healing of
Yeah.
traumas and rewiring core
Yeah.
wound patterns. But at the same time, there's also looking at the combination, which I know is the draw for people that are coming to VCBW. Now, for those that are listening that aren't a part of this community in terms of Ventura County, obviously the story hopefully is inspirational in itself, and that's what we hope to provide here on the show between stories and tips and ways for you to be coherent. That was a word somebody used when they came to my event, my very first live event in 2018. She was someone who knew me. She did listen to the show, but she was more local, and she said, "Oh, congruent." Yeah, she called me congruent. I love to see JJ because she's congruent. She is who she is on the podcast, who she is in person, who she is behind the scenes, who she is with 100 people or 1,000 people or one on one. And that told her to give her permission to that she could do it too. That we
Yeah.
have these ideas about who I'm supposed to be in business, who I'm supposed to be. I went to a networking event recently and man, my energy field was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna crawl out of my skin right now." And I want to normalize that we can do both, like what you're talking about, that we can do both, but from a human perspective of, I guess because I teach core wound and I create something called a core wound map, one of the things that we do to compensate for our traumas is perform for love.
Yeah.
And man, was there performing for love all over the flipping place, right?
You're right.
I was like, and it makes me sad because it's not necessarily authentic and
Right.
it comes from a place of survival and
Yeah.
dependency and out of alignment behaviors versus just coming being. And that's what I
Yeah.
really appreciate about showing up to Ventura County Business Women is that I had no attachment. I had no like, oh, I have to go make business. I have to sell to people. It was literally like, I'm just going to sort of slide in here and I'm going to see who I resonate with. I'm going to see what makes sense. I'm going to see who I want to have coffee with. And that has worked really well for me so far. And this podcast, if we didn't already mention it in the welcome episode, came out of another Ventura County Coffee and Connection where I showed up and Tawny's talking about all the members doing their, what was it, the Elevate series.
Elevate series, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to read those. I love you, and I'm never going to sit down and read. I want less screen time, not more
Right.
screen time.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I walked over to her, and then I got this download that said, you need to do a podcast. The women who are doing the work in the world like this need to be heard all over the world.
Mm.
And why would I want to share all of that, which is the people who are members? I want to make it global.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here we are.
And here we are.
So let's talk about your goals for both for VCBW and then for your Are you done with your marketing business? Are you just VCBW 100%?
Yeah, so full time I'm VCBW. We're launching the men's side of things now, so that's like a whole spiel in itself. And then we have I got my husband and I have a driving business, and we got a new community we're rolling out. But for the marketing company, I transitioned out of that. When I had my huge up level in 2021. I kind of learned about myself. I don't like being the one to think everything through for somebody else's business. And that's what we were doing, as a marketing company. Everything from post, how to communicate, creating all the content, scheduling it, doing the engagement. So it's fine for one business, but then like trying to do a full agency, 8, 9 clients, piecing different hats on, it's just not a good fit for my energy flow. But me learning so much about myself, what's been cool is like I am such a great soundboarder. Just my perspectives, and I really believe that everybody else has the right answer for themselves. Like I don't have the answer for people. I can just mirror back their greatness, their possibilities, so they can find their own answer. And I like to do that with people. So, supporting them with marketing and website strategy, I still get to be in those conversations. I just get to be like the conversational partner and not the one that has to do all the work, which has been very nice for me. I've been enjoying that.
So if somebody wanted to do what you've done, I mean, what if there's somebody out there that says, well, I want to create a membership that you've done somewhere locally where I am? Would you be willing to work with them? Is that something you'd ever consider doing?
Yeah, absolutely. And even there's a bunch of women in the community right now, like they're launching memberships similar in networking, and I just like it doesn't bother me. I think it's better that way, because one, individuals are different. So people that are going to come maybe towards my community because of my energy is going to be different from the next person. But then, you know, there's a lot of freaking people in the world. So I also look at it as collaboration being my magic tool. Like, nobody is in competition. Everybody has so many ways to win. And I really believe that if I invest in supporting others, that comes back tenfold. And I think everybody should have some kind of membership. So even when I do consulting work, I'm always trying to figure out, how can we get you 7 streams of income per business? How do we build out a membership? Definitely like everybody wants to make passive income in certain ways. And I love building that out with people. So, yeah.
Well, people are going to listen to this who, again, aren't members of Ventura County Business Women, that don't live in California, and they're going to think, well, you can't help me with marketing, but can you help me make a membership? Or can you consult with me? Because if they're interested, I just want to give them that, like they can reach out to you and say, I want to do this, and I want to do what you've done, and can you help me? Because I think the call to action for anyone who is local, if you are in Ventura County, if you're part of the 6,300 women who are on the Facebook page, join the group, join the community, because when you're on Facebook, and this we'll go into this, in different episodes of the show, when you're on Facebook and you're in a huge group like VCBW is, and it could even just be 50 people, it doesn't matter. If you only see somebody on social media and you never meet them in person, you never have a conversation, and you never really see them in action, then you're not really building a relationship. And we did this whole masterclass on visibility and how visibility can convert, and how to convert visibility into being fully booked. And unfortunately, because in today's society where we in marketing, when you can have a reel and you're on TikTok and you're on Facebook and you're on LinkedIn and you're on all, it's like, it's nauseating to think about how many places you are. And you think, well, if I'm just putting up something somewhere, everyone's going to see me. No, not everyone's going to see you because they're not going to click on it. And if
Right.
they do click on it, that's why we're starting this podcast. What most of you might not know about podcasts is that podcast listeners are some of the best demographic for all business owners, because podcast listeners are people who are interested in your story. They want to be inspired. They're listening
Mm.
while they're driving or exercising. They listen from the beginning to the end most of the time,
Yeah.
and they build a relationship with you because they're paying attention. When you do social media, like let's say Instagram, and you're doing Instagram Reels and you're hoping someone's going to hire you from that, I'm not saying that they won't, because you have to have the right offer at the right time. The methodology or the culture on Instagram is not necessarily to go back and watch every single reel that person's ever done, right? You
Yeah.
see one thing and you
Right.
move on. But
Yep.
this podcast, we get to explore and we get to share all of the messages that are on the show with as many people globally that are interested in it. And it lives on forever. It's evergreen. You do one thing one time and it's always there, and it can be searched, it can be found, and it can be consumed at any point in time, all of the time. And it doesn't get moved over like a Facebook reel or an Instagram reel. And,
Yeah.
and then it's so far down the thread that nobody's going there. That's not the culture of social media. Social media is fast, furious, in the moment, and done.
Yep.
Podcasting is about relationship building, which is why I wanted to start this with you. Again, I actually didn't want to, and neither did you. When I got the download, we're both like, I don't need another podcast.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I'm too busy. But I got a huge download about it. I'm like, no, this is maybe what you've been craving. I didn't do my mastermind this year. There's a
Mm.
reason for that.
Yeah.
I've been in business since, and we'll hear about that on the next episode, but I've been in business for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I have my own experience and skill sets and things that I've learned and things that I've done and things that I've accomplished. And I feel like, gosh, I'm not putting that anywhere right now. I'm not helping anybody with these things. And I need to be, because it's a part of me that I want to share. I don't want people to continue to make mistakes when they don't have to. When you can learn from someone who's done it differently, or you can hear the stories and you can avoid some of the mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. Everybody does. It's
Yes.
part of your growth path. But maybe you can make the mistake better. Maybe
Yeah.
you can make less expensive mistakes. Maybe you can make less costly mistakes. And maybe you can find mentors within this show that you resonate with, that inspire you in ways that you don't get normally. And that's exactly why I joined VCBW. So in terms of anything else you want people to know, either about your story or your goals for the show, the goals for the people who are listening, the guests that come on, what would you say?
Yeah. I think what I'm doing, I think you as well, like we're in alignment of what, we're bringing to the table inside of the bigger picture of, what's possible for humans. Dude, it's just, all of everything, the community, the podcast, anything else that we add in, even with JJ, with all the things that you got going, it's really like the individual being well. Business networking events, they're great, but I'm doing this for my own personal reason of I'm just trying to find like my own evidence in life that life works out. And I know that's funny. I get made fun of a lot in my home life. I live on a fam compound. My husband, my sister, and I call her my life wife, Kenzie. She used to manage my sister's cafe. So we all live together. And, I'm always like fairy tale framework. And what I mean by that is, there is a level of possibility that I truly believe that if I take care of myself, if I build a healthy dialogue within, whether life is good or hard, how I show up in the world, just it's completely different. My compassion, my open-heartedness, my open-mindedness, my willing to listen, my willingness to go through hard ass shit with people and be like, I love you, I'm here, I ain't going nowhere, don't you worry, we're gonna make it through. I get to show up that in that space in Ventura County Business Women, in the work that I do with business owners or people. And I think what is going to come from that, while I'm so hungry for those kinds of combos, is because if the individual is well, community is well. and fairy tale framework. Everybody's out here trying to save the world. Me too. I'm on that kind of vibe. So all these conversations to empower yourself, to have a deep connection to yourself, so then you're not getting swallowed up by the bullshit of life, and you can go serve and make an impact and make the world a better place in whatever capacity you can. So welcome. That's what I'm here for.
I love it. You actually reminded me, I had done a medicine journey. There's a whole story behind that I'll share another time, but it was San Pedro, and I totally manifested it. I'd said I'd watched How to Change Your Mind, and I've been on my own journeys in that way. But there was, when it got to mescaline, I was like, okay, I heard the message. Don't touch it unless you get invited. It's not your tribe. Let them invite
Yep.
you. And I was like, okay, I won't go seeking it. But if I get invited, I'll say yes. And so I'd gone to a Dr. Bruce Lipton event in Sedona, and I sat next to a shaman. And so he said, I work with San Pedro, which is a type of mescaline. And he's like, and I'd love you to come to the next. I'm like, okay, I'm in. And so I had this experience because, unlike other plant medicines, you have to make an intention with San Pedro. And so I really like, I'm a psilocybin fan, but because you're like, I'm in for the ride. Wherever we're going is wherever we're going. I can't call the shots. I'm not in charge. I love that. But for San Pedro, you have to choose like a focus. And so I had asked the grandfather, which is San Pedro, sort of to show me my highest best use, if you will, my high expression of my highest good. And there was a vibrating like white light, high energy. Not I wasn't shaking. I held that energy. I mean, it was almost like a kundalini energy of like when you almost get to orgasm, but you don't. It's like that thing people want to hold on to, that
Mm.
energy that like you're almost there, like the buildup of all that energy. I literally had that going on for over 12 hours. I didn't sleep.
Wow.
I was on this edge of this, like, and again, I wasn't shaking. I wasn't unstable. I wasn't hyper. It's none of those things. It was
Yeah.
as if somebody shot pure love, white light energy into my whole body.
Mm.
And I was vibrating so high for so long. And I realized by the end of the day, well, towards the end of the day, when like I finally got comfortable with it, I was like, oh my God, what do I do with this energy? I
Mm.
wasn't sure how to be with it. I wasn't sure how to contain it or to allow it or to move through it or to move with it. I wasn't trying to get rid of it. But I realized, and I think this is kind of what you're speaking to, that a lot of us work so hard because we have this belief that says that I have to be a certain way in order to affect change. And what I realized in that moment so deeply, more than I ever had before, that my presence, what I'm doing in the world, who I am without performing, who I am without achieving is enough to raise the frequency of the planet.
Amen.
But I
And
think everybody has that, right? I think everybody has that. If we're in alignment, if we're healthy, if we're well, if we're vibrating, if we're taking care of us first, if we're getting clear, we're in alignment. We're not that everyone has, there's no healed, by the way, everybody. There's no healed. All right. There is healing, but we're humans and we're going to bump up against stuff our entire existence. That's why we're here.
yeah.
But if we take the journey and say, okay, cool, what's this teaching me? Cool, how does this changing me? How is this just like a, coal over years and years becomes a diamond? How am I getting smoothed around the edges? How am I getting focused? How am I pivoting? Then we can address that if I'm showing up as the strongest, most confident, grounded, centered, full of love, full of hope person, and I'm working on my stuff. I'm working on my stuff. I'm letting go of my stuff. I'm actively doing something about it. Then I can just say, wow, I don't have to do anything. If I just get into that state, I'm already a force on the planet for good without
Yeah.
having to achieve anything. Just being.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's why I think the attraction to the community is because exactly what you're saying is like most of us are not taught that it's okay to just be. There's like these weird cultural or social things that we got to match up to. Most of us are not taught emotional intelligence, how to self-regulate, that are very vital to have being a human being. So, then you were kind of saying it earlier, touching the head on that, and why we address both the personal and the professional. Most of these women, or no, I won't say it that way. In my experience, a lot of business owners are creating their business, showing up, presenting, showcasing, promoting their business, not from their power, not from their truth, not from their alignment. It's from survival, chaos, fear, worry, doubt, beep, 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 somebody else's version. And then it just keeps adding to a problem that I'm seeing. So if we can have healthy conversations addressing those things without it being like, this isn't a spiritual or religious context. This is literally like, do you are you taking care of yourself? Be nice to yourself, be nice to other people, show up with intention. So I think if you just keep cultivating that, like I literally can't even imagine what will happen. I don't know. So Zach, I'm excited. Let's go.
We're doing it. We're doing it. Well, that's the flavor of this podcast because I'm not interested in just business without self-development because that's why I don't go to networking events. I was a little nervous going the first time to VCBW because I was like, I don't want to do the performing shit anymore.
Yep.
I did it for so long. I can feel the dysfunction a million miles away. It's not where I'm vibing. And not to mention it isn't really even effective. It's not anything out of alignment that we're doing stays out of alignment. So your results are
Yeah,
temporary. If you want to
exactly.
build something sustainable, you got to do it from within and you have to be aligned to do it. And you have to attract, not force. You can't make, you have to allow. Right. So
Yes.
it's taking the forcefulness out of it, but still sharpening your skills as a business owner because there's a lot of newbies who don't have any clue what they're doing. And no disrespect, you got to
Mm,
learn some way and you learn by getting in. You learn
yeah.
by getting in and figuring it out and taking it on and seeing other people and hearing their stories. And hopefully this show will help inspire you to learn some things that you didn't know before or didn't consider. I want to end today's show with a conversation that came out of our after we recorded the welcome episode. Because I think it's another aspect of the show of what women feel like or what we think women feel like they have to do in order to make things happen or to be in charge. You had said to me we'd stop recording and that's a note to myself because the best conversations happen when I never stop the recording. And I can cut
Yep.
it out, but I can't record what you just said when I stop the recording.
Yeah.
But you just really thanked me for kind of getting this all set up, teeing it up, and then all you had to do was show up because you're used to being in charge. You're used to being
Mm,
doing the one that does everything else. And that really speaks to how we receive. And as women, I can't think of a better topic of
yes.
in order for you to be successful in every area of life, you have to learn how to receive. And
Yeah.
as a born nurturer, most women suck at receiving. My mother's terrible. My aunts
Yeah.
are terrible. My grandmother was horrible. Right? It's in our lineage. Women do not know how to receive because we're the
Mm,
rescuers, we're the nurturers, and somehow we have taken upon ourselves to heal the world and not let the world be responsible. So, can you speak to a little bit about the receiving aspect of that?
yeah, and it's again, it's all that practice in my discipline of tending to myself. And it's funny is like because even with that, I had sent you some voice notes kind of in my own, my human, my fear, my worry came up like, fuck, I don't know if I could do this. What do you want from me? I don't know what's expected. How is this all gonna work? And it was just, you were just so gracious. So I got to have the human experience of fear, worry, concern. I can't do it all. Oh my God. I got to be heard. I got to be held. You validated. You said it was okay. You gave me an out if I really wanted it. But you're also like, dude, there's nothing for you to do. So I also got a lot of reassurance and affirmation, right? Like that kind of shit is what I think will heal the world. So even in that, like I can receive because you're making it safe for me to receive. And so I think this is newer for me. So I can't say that like, yeah, I'm a queen at receiving. No, I'm learning. I'm just more vocal about when I'm getting nervous about receiving. And usually because of what I'm doing, the other people around me, they're like, it's all good. It's good. It's okay to be fearful. I got you. You just have to show up. Um, so I'm excited to keep opening my heart to receive because it feels so good. It literally feels so good. I looked at, dude, you built that whole website page after like would you build that after as a 30-minute convo while I'm trying to bust tables at Bonnie Lou's. So that's the magic of communication and having the right people and trusting.
Yeah. Well, I attracted you and you attracted me. And my skill set is that I'm extremely fast about producing stuff.
Yes.
I also have a team. I wasn't the only person that, all the buttons and stuff, that's my team. I didn't do that. But I made the pages because, and I design, I'm a podcaster. I'm a podcast producer. I have a network. This is my wheelhouse. This is what I
Yes.
do. I've been doing this for a long time. I understand when it's new, people freak out because of the responsibility. And I gave you an out to say, hey, I love this idea, but if you don't want to bail at any time, this brand opens up to everybody on the West Coast, all women doing all things. I thought it was a great way to start focusing on Ventura County business women, but that's not where we're going to stay. I want to
Yeah.
find the people who are making the biggest waves, who understand what this platform can do for them. And, and it does feel nice. And I have to say, I didn't make it safe because I did the work for you in a way to communicate. You stepped up and was honest and asked questions. And I think some people bail. It's called, and I'm sure you probably know what an upper limit is. But an upper limit, sometimes in core wounds, some people's core wounds is that they just withdraw, hide, and they run the opposite direction. You didn't run the opposite direction. You got scared, but you communicated that. And then I was able to say, but I also, going into this, and this is about collaboration. One of the
Yeah.
kinds of shows that we're going to talk about here on the show, whether it be together or separately, will be collaborations. And this is a collaboration, and collaborations are going to morph, they're going to change, you're going to test it out, just like with the millions of podcasts that are now out in the world. We have to be strategic, but it also has to come from a place where it's stuff we want to talk about. I
Yes.
can't put some of this stuff that we're talking about, well, I shouldn't say I can't, I can do whatever I want, but
Yeah.
I don't want to put business conversations on Spirit, Purpose, and Energy,
Absolutely.
because my audience on Spirit, Purpose, and Energy aren't business owners. Can
Yeah.
I make the leap between business and spirit and personal development all day, every day? But they're not going to want to hear that every week for the next year.
Right.
This was kind of an answer to a question and a prayer that I had that I didn't even know I had, which was, where am I going to put all my advice for business owners and things I'm
Yep.
talking about and thinking about in a place for us to discuss real things. And so for everyone who's listening, while this is a business podcast, it's a business and self-development podcast with a specific goal of wanting to better yourself to the point of, like Tawney was saying, you're healing yourself, you're being well. If the person is well, then your business will thrive,
Yeah.
because you'll be in the right place at the right time to get the messages and the downloads and the guidance and the universe divinely moving you in different directions. I did not want another podcast. Tawny did not want another to do. Okay. But you listen when you're guided, and
Yeah.
when you get the chill and you get the big download, you go, okay, I surrender. This is what I'm being guided to do. And you do it. And then you see what happens. Yeah. So any last words before we end the about you, about the founder and visionary behind Ventura County Business Women?
Um, Peace and love. I'm excited for how this folds. Best is yet to come. Show up. We're excited for all the community guests that we're going to be able to, share their stories and hear where they're at. And I think conversations are just going to be little magic gold nuggets that we can share everywhere. So I'm here for it. I'm excited. Thank you.
And for anyone who's part of the Facebook group and not yet a part of VCBW, where do they go to sign up?
So you can go right onto the website under the become a member. We'll say ecosystem membership. It will tell you who it's for. We have so many benefits of joining. It's $25 a month. You get your first month free. We know you'll love it. You can cancel anytime.
Okay, that's VenturaCountyBusinessWomen.com.
Yes.
Okay, we hope to see you in the group.